Hello and welcome to WJTS in.form. I'm your host, Bill Potter. Now, you know the Purdue Extension Office, and oftentimes we think of the Purdue Extension Office as, oh, that's the 4-H program in Dubois County. Well, that's just a portion of what they do at the Purdue Extension Office. Joining me in the studio is a program assistant for Purdue Extension, and that is Ashlee Niehaus. Ashlee, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Bill.
Well, I think when people, like I mentioned, they think of the Purdue Extension Office, oh, that's the 4-H program.
They do.
That's a small part of what you are.
It really is. The Purdue Extension Office, if you break us out, okay, so across the state there are 4 offices. So you've got your youth development in 4-H, so that's 1/4 of our job. Then you've got A&R, the Ag and Natural Resources, HHS, which is Health and Human Sciences, and then the 4th one, which we don't have in our county, so we just, as individuals, we try to pick up some of the responsibilities. It is an Economic and Community Development Office, but we don't actually have an educator that occupies that role.
Okay.
So 4-H is 1/4 of what we do, and here in our county, it's really about 1/3 of what we do.
Okay, and we have educators.
We do.
Jan Dugan. I always get her title messed up. She makes fun of me for that. She's a Health and Human Services, right?
Health and Human Services, or
Okay.
Sciences, but they're kind of intermingled, but I think Sciences is probably what Purdue calls her.
Okay, and Kenny Eck. Ken is the Ag and Natural Resources.
Right.
And then Kendall Martin.
Yes. He is 4-H and Youth Development.
Okay. So 4-H is a small part of what you do, and we do want to point out, we're not going to talk too much about 4-H, just that 4-H is a great program, and you know, I know we've just recently gone through some enrollment.
I'm a product of the 4-H program.
All right. Well, what do you do? You're the program assistant. What do you do? Everything?
I am the program assistant, the county program assistant, and I was brought in because here in Dubois County, we have a very strong extension program, 4-H program, our ag programs. I mean, we're constantly, Kenny's putting on seminars and meetings, and you've got 40, 50, 60 plus farmers coming in, or producers, all kinds of stuff. And then the initiative across the state has really been the health initiative, you know, the eating right, moving, exercising, raising healthy families. So we really thought having an extra person in our office to kind of help pick up some of where we haven't been able to reach before would be beneficial. So I began basically after I graduated from college, but I became a full-time county employee January 2013, so January of this year. Time flies.
Yeah, anniversary.
And so what I do is I assist with the programs. So we have a family nutrition program in our office, and Diane Smith is, we call them an FNP, but they're a family nutrition programmist. Okay. She has been going over to Huntingburg Elementary, and she does a program there with their Ridge program, which is their after-school program, and it's basically a nutrition lesson for their kids. Well, there's about 60 kids that show up for this, so having an extra pair of hands comes in handy. So I go there. We did a program this past week in which we made parfaits with the kids, and we talked all about how you eat My Plate, which is the new thing. It used to be My Pyramid, now My Plate. So we talked through the nutrition lessons. Like I said, I help out with the 4-H program. During fair, I'm out there quite a bit, helping out with the camps, Kenny's programs, if he needs an extra set of hands for whatever. I don't mind getting dirty, but I also will let Kenny be the one that tromps through the majority of what he has to do. So
now, it's the Purdue Extension Service. Why Purdue University? What is the connection with Purdue? Why is that the way it is throughout the state?
So Purdue University is considered a land-grant university, and basically what that means is they receive funding or provide funding for these programs. So across the nation, there is a land-grant university in every state. So ultimately, there is an extension office program in every state. So we've got Purdue Extension. Kentucky, it's through UK, the University of Kentucky. They've got their extension service. Then that trickles down a little bit further to where within every state, you've got an extension office in every county. So we have one here in Dubois County, Crawford has one, Pike has one, and we all work together. It's basically like a connected system. You know, we share a lot of materials, ideas, personnel, because we do have, like in our office, and we have a very strong program, We have 2 administrative assistants. You've got me as a program assistant, 3 educators, and then we've got a family nutrition programmist. There's 7 people running all of the programs that we do. So by having other people in other counties, a lot of times we're just sharing the extra people because we need more hands. So then on that level, that's when you break down further. So there's an extension office in every county. Well, then you've got your programs within every county.
So the Purdue Extension Service exists not for 4-H, although 4-H is part of it.
It's
really
program.
for the general public.
It is.
Anybody you offer services to.
The whole idea is community education, and that's why within the counties, the county government is tied in for funding, but we're a county office is what we are. So we are able to provide, I would say, the vast majority of our programs for free to the community. And it's all educational, peer-reviewed, these types of educational programs, which with internet, it's a great thing. I use it all the time, and it's so easy to go on and Google something. But when you're trying to do the proper way of canning tomatoes, you know, the science behind that changes. Back in the day, the tomatoes were a little bit different, the acid levels were different. Well, that's changed now. And so the canning processes have changed. To stay up to date with that, you know, we've got the materials you need. Jan, she gets all kinds of questions every year about how do I can this? What do I do that? I need a recipe for this. So we've got the science behind it, but as well as the fun. If you're using just your Pinterest, which we have an account, but you know, we try to pin the educational to make sure that what we're telling people is correct and up to date. But if you're just relying on some of those sources and blogs and stuff, as good-hearted and as great as their intentions might be, there's really no guarantee that the science behind it is correct or what it might seem to be.
You're verifiable or credible, maybe.
Credible, yeah, we try.
Okay. And so it could be something as simple as my zucchini plants all died.
Right.
What happened? And so you call Kinnick. And
you call Kenny, and you can bring your plant in. It's every day we might have a bug sitting around or a plant or something. If you open up our freezer, which is where sometimes I have my lunch, I'll open it up, and every day I'm like, well, there's 3 new bugs in the freezer.
Hopefully in jars, right?
They're in jars and they're frozen. But you know, that's what we do. So if you've got questions, if it's about the growing process of food or plants, a lot of times it's to Kenny, or if it's about an animal, Kenny filters that. If once it moves beyond that and it becomes the food aspect, Jan a lot of times filters those questions. So I mean, if you call in and you bring something in, you know, our staff, we can send you in the right direction. If we don't know the answers, we try to help find the answers. I don't know, it's hard to predict what every day is going to bring because we never know.
Well, I guess someone could even call you something as simple as saying, I'm a new parent. What should I do? How do I feed my child? Or not how do I feed my child, but when can they go on solid foods?
Right. And you know, we've got programs designed for that. Jan even goes so far as she provides parenting programs for community corrections. So she goes in and she speaks with the people who are going through the community corrections programs, and she talks about parenting, you know, and a lot of times there's more going on in those situations, so they could be addicted to drugs. Well, sometimes that thought process doesn't trickle down to think, well, if I as a parent am addicted to drugs, you know, how is that affecting my child? And so there are different concepts like that. But it could also be something as simple, which at the same time is complicated, is how do I tell my child? You know, some people, they're like, well, daddy's going to work or mommy's going to work, because they don't know how to communicate with their child that, you know, one mistake has landed them here. So you never know. I mean, the spectrum is as broad as it can be. So
maybe it'd be best to ask you this question. Is there anything that the Purdue Extension Office doesn't do?
Yes.
Okay.
I might think of one eventually. No. There are different things. When it comes to, a lot of times people will say, I just went to the doctor, or they'll have medical. We don't answer medical questions. Consult your physician. When it comes to animals and once they've died, you know, we don't mess with that. SciPac does a good job. They've got the animal diagnostic lab. Somebody tried to bring a rabbit into our office and they wanted us to do an autopsy. And we were like, well, we don't do autopsies. Please take it out to the Hickey diagnostic lab, because there are a few different areas where we're more of the information, kind of the go-between. And so if somebody comes to us with the questions, we'll be like, here's the information you need to find what you want to get, kind of your end goal.
You're the hub.
We are the hub.
They come to you, and then you can get them.
We're like
if
a
you don't have
Rolodex.
the information, you'll know where to get the
Right.
know where to get the information.
Yeah. Or we try really hard to find it if we can. So.
Ashlee, thank you very much for being
Thank
our
you.
guest. You know, Purdue Extension exists for all of us to use, and make sure that you give them a call if you've got a question, because you might, let them know about some sort of disease that's going around, some sort of fungus that's going on
Right.
tomatoes, and it's a great start.
Right.
Because you guys keep track of that story.
We do. We do keep track.
All right. Well, thank you for watching, and thank you, Ashlee, for being our guest. We are WJTS. Local people watching local people.